Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Diary Room, a Big Brother podcast trying to find the best Big Brother player of all time. It's a randomized bracket, a very long game that we're playing here. If this is your first ever episode, welcome. Maybe we'll give you a longer explanation at some point in the future, but I think you'll get the idea just by jumping in with us here today. Back for another week, of course. I'm Matt. I'm first here with Amon. Amon, how you doing?
Hey. Glad to be back once again. I'm doing well. Um, Enjoying the season and enjoying being so close to being done with my first semester of school. And I get like a nice two and a
Ooh.
half week break. So I cannot wait for that. But yeah, otherwise I'm feeling good.
Yeah, we got to send good vibes for that, but also for the season to be in a okay place by the time that you get to that point, so that you have desire to use all that free time towards Big Brother.
Yeah.
We'll see
I
how
did
that
fall behind.
goes.
I was doing so well in the beginning, y'all. I was like all in it, and then one exam will take you out, man.
It'd be like that. It'd be like
So
that.
It's tough, but we're making time. We're figuring it out. We're getting through it, and obviously making time for this podcast here today with our special guest, returning back to the Diary Room for her third time. So happy to have back with us, Maggie Morgan. Maggie, how's it going?
Oh, I'm so great. I love coming to the diary room. I love Big Brother. It's just the best, isn't it?
It's like it's fun in the off season. That's what our podcast is designed around. But when we're here,
hmm
like in Big Brother season itself, it's just like it's all in the air. We're just for better or
It's
for
also,
worse.
I was at my parents' house when the cast dropped, and my mom was dying laughing at me because it was like the Big Brother Broveal, right? That we were all dunking on. And I'm starting to watch this in their kitchen, like half watching that, half working, and I'm like cussing out the screen. I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. And then like 5 minutes in, I'm like jumping up and down. I'm like, I love Big Brother. And my mom was like, you're crazy. And I was like, we are crazy. We are crazy. I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you. Yeah.
And look, I try not to, I think I said before the podcast was trying to keep us in the time and place, and I'm immediately breaking that. But just thinking back to this past week and everything with the Drew power that we thought he
hmm
had that he didn't actually have, like just going through that all together, that we all just were living in that weekend of just being so mad at a guy who didn't do anything wrong and didn't actually have a power.
Matt,
So
I hated him. I hated him. I literally was like, screw it. I was like, he tricked us. He deserves to go home. I hope he gets punished. Like I hated him. And I've already publicly apologized to Drew. I'll do it again. I'm so sorry for hating you for doing nothing.
yeah, especially for it to happen twice, like our 2 seasons in a row, because that happened with what was his name, Zach? Zach,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
hmm
Zach last season. So yeah, it was a bit of a relief. I also got caught up in the hype of him having it, just solely based off of other people's reads online because I hadn't really been watching for myself. So I was like, oh yeah, he's got it. And then when I saw that he didn't use it, I was like, what the and then he never had it. So it's just like, okay, like I might need to calm down a second.
hmm
So yeah, it has been a bit of a roller coaster, and not to step down too much on it, like like Matt said, but the fact that he was about to leave but could be staying by now, you guys already know if he stayed or not. But like, it's just been quite a roller coaster over the past few days. But again, that's why we love this damn show.
It
So.
is. It is. Well, Maggie, we're going to kick things off today talking about a different player from this season. Was evicted now 2 weeks ago at this point. We have Jason is our first player up for today. We're going to see if he qualifies for round two. Maggie, what did you think of Jason's 3 weeks in the house?
Oh my goodness, I have so many thoughts. I was actually texting with Izzy from BB25 earlier today, kind of talking about this because I think Jason, while being totally messy in the house, absolutely through no fault of anyone but his own, was very messy. But I also think that like, Jason really got dealt a bad hand with his cast. The fact that Jason was the only queer person on the cast, the fact that nobody even knew who Selena Estidis was is wild. Like, Selena Estidis is a very big drag queen. It doesn't even matter. Like, I'm not a super frequent drag race watcher, but like, I know who Selena Estidis is. And so I think that it's hard a little bit to really give Jason a fair shake, because I'm not sure that I feel Jason got a fair shake in the house. And that's kind of my just overall thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a big part of the conversation, especially while Jason was in his final week and was not having any luck whatsoever making his way into really any solid alliance. People were just
Mm-hmm.
fleeing the scene anytime he was in the room, even the people he was friends with. And there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of course, discussion about, as Maggie just mentioned, him being the only queer person in the house. And he's certainly not the only person to have been the only queer person in the house. And whatever group it is that has been in a similar situation to Jason in the past, it's never fun and it's never easy to watch them go through that. But especially here in this moment, watching it be Jason, like him specifically in the gym, Amon, there's that clip of him going, "I miss gay people." And like, it's kind of lighthearted. He's kind of joking, but then he's also crying. And it's like, no, seriously, like that was a tough watch. His experience
Mm-hmm.
was not what he wanted it to be. But I do feel like I got moments of enjoyment of his chaos that he brought, if nothing else.
Yeah, he definitely brought a very interesting energy to the house. I think I might be a little bit more critical than most people. Maybe I'm a little biased only because, I had like this larger expectation of him going in because I am a big Drag Race fan. And on top of that, I chose him in my draft. So I'm like, you're on my draft. You got to act right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think a lot of it was sort of self-inflicted. And I do sympathize with the fact that, he was obviously a little out of his element. And I think that he came to terms with himself a lot about how much he does use drag as a bit of a shield and how much he really had been cocooning himself within his community, which isn't a bad thing to do, especially given today's climate. Most of us really want to be around the people that we feel comfortable with and the people that love us and the people that we don't feel judged by. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
knocking him there, but I do think, I'm starting to notice, as a gay man myself, I'm starting to notice a bit of a delineation between older gay people, and not to say that he's like old, but 35, he's of a certain generation. He's of a certain ilk
Millennial.
of gay people, right? Yeah. And the newer age gabies, right? Like a lot more of them are a lot more integrated into the communities, which they're standing on the shoulders of older generations. So I'm not saying that that's all they're doing, but what I'm ultimately saying is I think that there is a lot more of an integration with the younger gays, and I think they are able to navigate spaces a little easier than someone like Jason might be able to. And so really was highlighted for me with this experience in the house, because I was like, oh, so you really, you don't hang with straights. You just don't
But
do
I
it.
also think Aman, like, just to I am interested in this thought,
Hmm.
and my thought about perhaps, rather than it being like a younger, like a generation thing,
Hmm.
I think that it might just be like Jason's job is drag. Jason doesn't have like a 9 to 5 where he's, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like Jason's job is drag. Jason has worked really, really hard in his life
Yep.
to get to a place where this is his job, and like he doesn't have to, be outside of his community if he doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I just, I don't know that like if it's a Gen Z versus like millennial thing, or just like the fact that Jason's job is drag, therefore everybody
Hmm.
he works with, interacts with, his friends, all of his community is within that community. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, of
And
course. Go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
on
Matt.
on top of that, I mean, Jason, when he gets out of the house, is seeing things immediately about like
Mm-hmm.
who Kamu really is,
Mm-hmm.
and learning in the house
Hmm.
about like who Haley is, and her telling on herself at times. So like sniffing that on some of these people and knowing that you're not necessarily in safe territory to
Mm-hmm.
really open up and be yourself, like behind closed doors, Kamu's talking about like keep that drag away from me. And
Hmm.
look, I don't want to really get like, I know a lot of people had like a lot of takes on this and plenty of people, and I think this is a reasonable thought to say Kamu doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be, comfortable doing drag in order to be around Jason. I'm not really just focused on that comment, but it's
Yeah.
just we know kind of the vibe that we've gotten from Kamu, if not videos he's posted and things he's liked, to feel comfortable saying that Jason was not comfortable around him and living in this house, being able to play a game that's based on social connections and all this kind of stuff in a week that man was in power. So it just was a really shitty thing, a shitty experience for him. And
right, and I take all of that. I understand all of that because maybe Jason wasn't entirely aware of how people really felt about his drag and all of that while he was in the house, and he's definitely getting a better idea now. And of course, that makes it even easier for us to be like, "Oh, bitch! Like this is like, yeah, you're not really going to have a shot here." So of course, I do sympathize with all of that. But it also just makes me even more like, oh, Jason, like, then why would you purposefully be shady to the one person that was on your side, the one that was like, was accepting of you and wanted to work with you and shared that personal story about the gay people in her life? It was like, that should have been your number one ace up your sleeve. And you had no qualms with being shady and then telling everybody that you were being shady about it. So I was like, sometimes I would just wish that a little bit of those shady antics could get put in a box a little. And I know that she's a showman and I get it. I understand all of that, but that's my main gripe, because I just wonder, what does the house look like with Angela still in his corner? Do people like Kamu and Haley still have the power to have this sort of attitude towards him as openly, if someone like Angela is like, no, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? But because he sort of screwed that pooch, we won't really know what that's like. And so ultimately, I kind of just want to see Jason play again, knowing everything that he knows now and how all that would change. So
yeah, he wants to as well. And of course, it also goes back to, why did he not enter the house with the icons? I think we've all been asking that question. And so what if maybe set things up a little bit differently if they all knew that they were on the same level, or if he could tell them basically that without, because he kept it a secret this whole time that he was on Drag Race. But who knows if that would have made any type of difference. Regardless, I do think it's crazy, Maggie. Final thing that I have here is just that Jason had his big nomination ceremony, right? Where everything blew up, feeds come back, and we see the fallout of it. And it's like, okay, that's going to be Jason's big moment, assuming he leaves the house sometime soon. And then we go on to banging the teapot all around the house to the point where Julie herself is standing outside holding a spoon and a teapot. So look, he made his mark.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
I think to the point where there's a chance Jason will come back to host a competition or to like maybe even play again one day. Like, I think Jason made such a big splash that like it's giving pre-juror like Devon, you know what I mean? Levels of like, we will remember you.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. I think he's definitely loved enough by parts of production, because this very same production are the same production that put people like Kamu in the house. Exactly. I think that he is loved enough by a few people on production that for sure he could definitely make another appearance, whether it be to play again or just to be involved with a future season somehow, some way. So,
do you think Jason's going to make it to round 2? What do we think?
It's kind of tough. I mean, it's not impossible. I'm seeing some names right here where I'm like, yeah, I could see, we're here more for the Jason antics than that person. So there's a couple people in here that he could beat for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Can he beat Scott, the first boot of Big Brother 4, who didn't even get booted, who just got evacuated from the game? Yeah, and he's on this wheel, so
yeah,
he's on the wheel. Come on,
he could beat Lisa Weintraub.
Okay,
Joey.
Yeah, he could beat Joey.
Okay. All right. We have options. We have a path for him through here. Let's find out if Jason's going to make it to round 2. Let's see who his opponent is from the wheel of round 1 losers. Clay Honeycutt. Now, if you're wondering, did Matt rig this wheel just to talk about Clay Honeycutt? The answer is not no.
The answer is yes. The answer is always yes.
Oh, we love it. And unfortunately now I'm going to have to pull up a graphic of Clay Honeycutt for us to look at for...
Oh, wow. The horror. My eyes.
This is horrible. Sorry, what were we talking about?
Clay
Clay.
being
Clay,
difficult to
Honeycutt.
look at. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not. But let's talk about Clay. Maggie, what do you remember about Clay from this season? I feel like the easy answer is, of course, just like, oh, him and Shelly. Is there anything like more specific that he did to make his mark on the game?
He was good. He was okay. Like he was in the majority alliance, if I remember, at the beginning until Vanessa kind of took everything over and ousted him. I do think that he was like a part of the group of people that turned on Audrey, and that I do think ended up being his downfall, if I'm remembering all of this correctly. This was one that I watched when I was like still in college. I do think that yeah, he was a part of the group that caused Audrey to blanket and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of
Mm-hmm.
like hurt himself because Audrey wasn't then there for him to work with. And I do think Audrey had been working very closely with Shelly and Clay. And what I remember is that Clay was voted out 1 week before jury, and
Yep.
Shelly was voted out in the jury, and Shelly was very upset that Clay was voted out before the jury.
Yeah. He ends up really like the enemy of the like James Meg side of the house, specifically James, who wanted
Mm-hmm.
to go after Clay in a pretty big way. At the time that Clay ends up getting evicted, Clay and Shelly obviously stood out as this power couple. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it just spiraled out of his control, and at that point, Vanessa's not looking to save him.
No.
Yeah. So, come on, what do you have on Clay?
Yeah, I thought that he uh did a good job of putting himself in a good position of power in the beginning. He and Shelly were in a very nice spot. Um, and then them having that relationship with Vanessa in the beginning that wasn't very strained was good. And I think on top of that, Clay did have relationships outside of his power structure as well. He had a nice little, he had like, why might I even say there was like a small little side flirtation with Meg.
Oh,
Um,
there was.
yeah. Um, and so, and then, he also had something nice going on with Davon before that thing unfortunately blew up. And the same
I've
thing
just
with,
looked him up.
mhm.
Still beautiful with a beautiful wife and a beautiful child
Oh, good for
who
him.
he's got a type, I will say. Looks a lot like looks like she could be Shelly's sister. And congratulations to Clay. You look like you have a beautiful life.
I
Yeah.
mean, Clay was born, and it was like, congratulations, Clay.
Yeah, seriously.
You were all set up. And if I
Yep.
can be like that woke friend for a second, that too woke friend for a second, like Clay is the person that comes into Big Brother with like the pass to the end already, just by like how handsome he is, who he is, what he
Mm-hmm.
looked like, all that kind of stuff. And so it's an interesting matchup to compare him to the
Yeah.
complete opposite of what we were just saying about what Jason's
Mm-hmm.
game is like, coming into that house alone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I think he did have a very clear path to the end. Um, I think it only takes a juggernaut um, in Vanessa to
Mm-hmm.
derail everything that he has going on. I do think that the big blow up with Audrey in a lot of ways was the impetus for that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Audrey didn't do herself any favors because Audrey was playing too hard too fast and really beginning to drag her and Shelly down. And one thing that Shelly was going to do above all else was protect herself and by
Mm-hmm.
extension protect Clay. So is there a little critique about, how quickly they did turn on Audrey? Maybe, but they really didn't have many options. And then I think that also Clay just saw himself as so much more of a shield and so much more of an incapable person. And he wanted someone like Shelly to make it towards the end. So I think that when the both of them wound up in jeopardy together, he was only too eager to fall on his sword and start trying to get into a fight with James and completely isolating himself and wanting Shelly to go as far as she could. So yeah.
Like when it comes to Big Brother gameplay, and I guess not gameplay, but just like knowledge of gameplay, um, I trust Jason so much more. He's a super fan. He's studied the show. He knows how everything is supposed to work. And just like on like the surface level, on basics here, I would be inclined to say Jason, just because like Amon just mentioned, Clay falls on his sword for Shelly. He's happy to do so. Jason was not happy to go out of the house. Even in that final moment where Jason loses the blockbuster and falls to the ground because like it was so close and he was so thinking that he was about to possibly stay even further, he comes back in the house and he gives one last good speech. I thought he might have just sat on the couch and said, all right, it's my time to go. I understand you're all going to vote me out, but he put in work until the last possible second. And you can't say the same for Clay. So on that basis alone, I want to give it to Jason, but it's tough because Clay was in a better position for much longer. Clay found an alliance where Jason never could.
And I do think that Jason not being able to find an alliance, like Jason was essentially in an alliance with Rome and like that whole side, and then the Rome thing got blown up. And I do think like if Devins hadn't made that choice, maybe Jason would still be here. So it's just this is really hard. It's like I can't remember if I know that it's all like your own whatever you decide, like what your version
Yeah,
of
your
this
criteria.
is. But I'm like, oh, if I drop them all into 100 seasons of Big Brother, I drop them both into 100 seasons of Big Brother, I think Clay would do better, more times than Jason. But I think that Jason knows more about Big Brother, and like if Jason got a good house around him, could like really do some damage in a way that I'm not sure Clay would. So I don't know.
I'm even reminding myself here, I'm looking into my Clay notes, and no, it's not just a bunch of pictures of him. Thank you very much. But I'm reminding myself of when he was asking Johnny Mac to be a pawn, like back to back to back weeks. And Johnny Mac, that's when Johnny Mac was debuting I'm not doing that. So he just wasn't exactly like reading people's emotions and whatnot towards him very well. Again, he finds himself in a better spot. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm voting for Jason. I understand that Jason's position was never as good as Clay's, but I just see more of Big Brother game sense in Jason. And if one HOH goes differently, if the power falls into anywhere that could benefit Jason by no means played like incredibly perfect, anything like that. But like, I just have a lot more trust in him, given the moments that I did see of him, like going to campaign and playing for himself and playing the game, having to play by himself, than I did where Clay was in a good spot and it goes nowhere. So my vote's for Jason. Anybody want to go next?
Come on.
Damn, this is a little tough.
It is pretty tough. I
really
know
hard.
I said I voted.
This is the hardest matchup I think I've had. I think most of my matchups have been like pretty simple.
Well, maybe it was easy for you, but Reagan versus Will, I still think about. And by the way, Will just recently had a very tough matchup. Again, we were talking about Peter Brown beforehand because it was Will versus Peter Brown, and Will won.
So I'm trying to okay. Because I agree with what the both of you said in that, like, Jason obviously is like a big fan of this show, but he unfortunately turned out to be one of the big fans that flames out. And so I don't know if that's something that is a boon in his argument right now anymore. Do I think that he would do ultimately much better if he were to go back into the house like right now? Would he be much better? Oh yeah, for sure. But hindsight is always 2020. Whereas with Clay, I'm trying to think about like why it is that he got evicted. And I do think that, I think it was a situation where he gets sucked up into the world of Vanessa, where like, people that would actually fight for him start to go one by one. Because I think wasn't like, that was like the week before where Austin was Austin almost went home because Austin was doing a lot and Vanessa wasn't feeling it. And he was ultimately the backdoor plan. He catches wind of it, begs and gets on his knees to Vanessa, says, "Please, please, please, I'm sorry." Like I did. And so that plan shifts, and Clay and Shelly are all too willing to just get rid of Jason at that point in lieu of that.
Yes.
And then that entire side of the house is then like, well, fuck y'all.
Yep. And
so
that's
I'm
where
like,
James goes in for the revenge the following week to,
So I'm
counter that.
like, is that a better way to go out than the way that Jason went out? Because that's kind of where I'm at with it right now.
I mean, you could certainly point to all of Jason's teapot banging and say, like, why would you ever think that this person is someone that you would trust in a game? I mean, to that point, I would say Jason only got to that point because he saw the writing on the walls that this wasn't going anywhere, and he wasn't. First of all, he's going to make good TV. Go ahead, Maggie.
I'm gonna go while you think I'm on, because I think I've made my decision.
Okay.
Clay basically said, "Vote me out over Shelly." Clay was tricked by Vanessa, or like, got whipped up in the Vanessa of it all. Jason was not the best Big Brother player, but Jason was really fun TV and really memorable. And this being so close, I'm picking Jason as well. And his like how memorable he is we will remember that teapot for forever. People will talk about the teapot forever.
Okay.
Can I just say Clay is very memorable?
Well, because he's
oh my god, shut up. Okay. I am going to vote for Clay, but I ultimately agree with the both of you. I'm more so doing it because I do think that Clay's game does deserve a little bit of respect. But I also, what you just said, Maggie, is like, I think that he has better game sense than Clay ever really showed. Like, what I mean, there were so many times in the feeds where Jason would be like, "Yeah, this is happening. That's the thing. They're together," and we're like, "Yes, you're clocking it. You're correct. Now do something." And his version of doing something was basically cause chaos. But at least he knew. At least he knew. Like when they were all up there, he was like, "Yeah, like." Come on, guys! Like we're not dumb here. Like we know what's going on, and like so all too often we see so many players that are like so naive, and they're like, "Oh, la di da." But he wasn't one of those people.
No.
So that was So I think that he will always have better game sense than Clay did. But I'm going to give it to Clay just out of respect for Clay.
I respect Clay too. Selena S. Titties, round 2 in the diary room. Look at that. No.
For your thirst.
I am so happy for Jason. Didn't see this coming all the way, but I also didn't see Rome making it through, and Rome found a way through over Big Brother
they both
27's
made it through. Aww.
Kelly Jorgensen. So
2/3 of the trimance.
Yeah, well, let's
of the love triangle.
Let's leave that trimance where it was. Let me get the wheel up because we're about to get into 2 other matchups. And by the way, yes, patrons, that does mean that Clay Honeycutt moves to the nomination ceremony, possibly with a chance to come back into the competition. We'll see how that goes. But Jason, now in round 2 officially, he'll join this wheel in the next episode. Rome is on this wheel now. Rome just made it to round 2. He could come up today. Who knows? Let's find out.
Goodness.
That's right.
This is going to be so much harder. Round 2. Everybody's pretty good.
I know.
We're starting with Big Brother 12 here in Lane.
Ow,
Lane.
wow. Lost
Not
by
a big
1 vote.
Yes. Pretty big force in the brigade. Which one was he? Was he the animal? I think he was.
I can't remember. I can't
You
remember.
got the meow meow. No, he was the beast. Hayden was the animal. And then Matt was the brains. I think.
Yes.
Right. It's
Sounds
okay.
right to me.
Who can remember all of the inner machinations of Enzo's mind?
Amon, how often are we thinking about Lane today, these days in Big Brother?
I really feel like Lane is so unsung because he doesn't have a moment like his alliance members do. Obviously, Enzo is Enzo. He's the meow meow. That's all there is to it. Hayden wins. And then Matt Hoffman is a lying, dirty, no good, rotten, pig stealing great-great-grandfather. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that Lane kind of gets swallowed up in all of that. But I think he had a great social game. He was the perfect cog in the wheel for the brigade. He had a great relationship with Brittany. I think that's what made him the most valuable and gave him probably one of the better end game escape routes than the rest of his alliance members. He just decided not to really take it, which I think that there really was a world in which maybe it could have happened. But
Well,
it
his
just,
hands were tied. His hands were
yeah.
tied. Like I don't know if he had to make that decision. I don't know if he would have chosen Brittany, because if he took Brittany to the end, he would have won. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I think like Lane lost by 1 vote. And you're right, Lane is one of the unsung. Like he's been kind of lost to the time of Big Brother. Like he's one of those like lost figures of time. But he was really good. Like really good. A really good player. And
Mhm.
Hayden is one of like the upper tier winners, but he only beat Lane by 1 single vote.
I
Yeah.
feel like we actually talked about this recently, and I'm trying to remember if this is the case or not, if anybody remembers here or in the comments, that when it came to those 3 votes that he got, that obviously Brittany was always voting for him, and then Brittany had a good relationship with Brendan and Rachel at this point in the jury phase, is what I feel like someone said. I could be making that up. And that's why Brendan and Rachel ended up voting with Brittany to vote for Lane over
They
Hayden,
made
because
up
it was
they made up like apparently this was on like Reddit that I read this. They made up like a
maybe that's what I read.
rumor or something. There was some rumor that they had made up something that like Hayden had called Brendan a mean name or something. So like Brittany had made that up. So then they were voting for Lane or something. I don't know if this is true.
Yeah,
I do think I saw this on Reddit or something.
it's been a few years since this season,
Mm-hmm.
and for some of us, we weren't watching it live, so we can only
Mm-hmm.
go off the episodes and what we've heard. But yeah, I mean, look, what you guys said, obviously, all agree with a lot of it, if not all of it. Just that he is very underrated, sometimes underrated by me, especially. I just think of him as, yeah, like he was part of the brigade, but I think of some of the other members as a little bit more crucial. I've heard a lot over the years of I don't know, this podcast of feedback that I'm a little too high on Enzo. Maybe I'm not high enough on Lane. But I think that the point that sticks out the most to me when people make it back
Mm.
to me is that, yes, Lane getting his person in Brittany, the farthest of anybody else getting their person into the season, is probably his biggest point in his favor, that he was able to keep her. And granted, that has a lot to do with Brittany's social game as well, that she was in good with his allies, and that's why it just worked for the two of them to make it so far. But the fact that he had so many options at that late stage in the game, that he had such a strong advocate for him on the jury, I mean, you would definitely think that whatever the matchup he's about to get, he's the favorite, or he's a favorite.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he played decently enough for him not only to be, a contender for this bracket, but also, had he been able to explain it maybe just a touch better, maybe he would have been able to swing one more vote his way in that final decision. Um, I just think, Hayden's game was just a bit more flashier, a couple
Yeah,
more
and
wins, and
also, I do think that it's worth noting that both Matt and Enzo voted for Hayden, and they were the ones working the closest with them in the
mhm.
brigade. So, like, they valued Hayden's game over Lane's. I do think that that's just like worth noting.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know their exact reasonings, but Hayden having that flashiness that Amon was talking about with the comp wins, I feel like that obviously can't hurt. Just
Mm-hmm.
that
I
you have
think
a
it just
resume
makes
to
them
point to.
feel, yeah, it just makes you feel better. Like when you're in that alliance and one of your people just keeps winning and keeping you safe, you're like, oh yeah, like I gotta give it to the guy, right? Like he kept us safe
Mm-hmm.
all those weeks, right? So
It's not
Mm-hmm.
the exact same thing, but like a little bit of like what happens with Dougie and Dane in BB Can 7, that like
Mm-hmm.
both of them played incredibly impressive games. And we can talk about Dougie's not social game, but just like jury management if you really want to pick things apart. But like one had a
Mm-hmm.
really impressive game without any comp wins, and then Dane, who won everything. It's like, well, pretty default. You're going to go to the comp win guy.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
let me bring up the wheel though and find Lane an opponent. This is kind of scary. First player's good. You never know what's going to happen next.
What's gonna be?
Let's see. It's going to be
What's
Lane from
gonna
Big Brother
happen?
12 up against, oh boy,
Who is that? Who is
Big
that?
Brother Canada 10's Kyle Moore.
Oh,
Wow, this
the
is
Kyle Moore
really
we
hard.
picked.
This is our Kyle. No, Puya's Kyle Moore. This is Puya's Kyle
Yeah,
Moore.
yeah. Aww.
Did either of you play
Aww.
any Among Us with this Kyle Moore?
I think I
Yes.
played one game with him. Yeah.
I hope he's well.
I sure do. I mean,
Mhm.
didn't seem that well on the season, but that's just because he
No,
wasn't a very
yeah.
good Big Brother player. This is a really funny matchup. For anybody who like doesn't watch Big Brother Canada, actually, do either of you, Amon, do you want to give the story of how Kyle Moore came to be?
Sure. So back during the early days of the preseason of BB Can 9. The cast gets released. We find out that there is a Kyle Moore that's going to be on the show. I don't think that we yet had photos of Kyle Moore. And so as we do, we start digging, we start searching, we start stalking. And we find this lovely, handsome young man who is a mental health professional, who seems like a, just an all around great guy, and I'm sure he still is. And so we started hyping him up, and then lo and behold, the following day, the cast pictures actually drop. Kyle Moore that we see is not the Kyle Moore that we know and love. And then the Kyle Moore that we know and love also wakes up the following day terrified because he's like, what did I do? Mm-hmm. Did I say something on my podcast? Am I canceled? What happened? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a completely different Kyle Moore. That Kyle Moore is also not the greatest on BB Can 9. So the entire time, everyone's like, it should have been our Kyle Moore. It should have been our Kyle Moore. And then fast forward a year later, our Kyle Moore ends up on the show.
So crazy that this happened.
Yeah.
Amon left this part out. I was referencing it earlier, but yeah, he ended up finding the community as we found him first. Next thing you know, he's playing Among Us with us on Puya's Twitch streams, just because the invite was put out there. He played, I don't know, a couple of times. Flash forward to BB Can 10, and he is on the season, and it's all of a sudden like, do we know this guy? We don't know this guy, right? No. Because Maggie, his game was a disaster. It was a disaster. One of the all-time like worst players, but especially HOHs in Big Brother history.
Yeah. But great guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Beautiful gowns. Look at how cute he is.
Yeah, great gowns.
He the game was like he won a HOH, and he put up Steph, was somebody that was in his alliance, another early boot in that season. He's working with Gino, who's obviously pairing up with JC Lynn, and it's like, all right, this trio, this group looks like they're going to be pretty good. Next thing you know, he's also had a relationship with Moose because they knew each other from like school outside of the game. Yeah. So there was that, but then he's like throwing Moose under the bus. He's blowing up his own alliance. He told Betty that she was going up and then didn't put her up. So like she was pissed off at him for ultimately no reason. He was pissing off Herman, and he was going to end up targeting Josh, but then Stephanie gets evicted at his like request. It was so messy. It was so horrible. It was week 3. It didn't need to go that way, but he wins his matchup because he was up against a Big Brother Canada 8 player, one of the messiest Big Brother Canada 8 players in Min Lee. So that's how he got here. And then this is how he's about to leave.
Sure. I vote for Lane. Still love you, Kyle.
You don't
say. Yeah, obviously going to vote for Lane here too. I think Kyle, I think, it's so funny because I feel like he was generally okay for the beginning of the game. There was a lot going on around him where he was able to sort of like sit back, and we were like, okay, Kyle, like, just keep doing what you're doing, boo thing. And then he wins HOH. It's just never the same. It's just, what happened? What happened? And I remember, so like the fan base was so like at each other's throats too, because there was a large faction of people that were like, damn, like, this kind of sucks. Like, we wish that he had done better. And then there was another section that was like, see, this is why y'all keyboard warriors think y'all know what Big Brother's all about. Y'all know nothing. Y'all always trying to cast somebody. And it was just like, damn, like, yeah.
It was some tough breaks.
He was evicted on his own best friend's HOH because Gino said, I have to disassociate myself from you. Maggie, imagine you get on Big Brother and you and Kirsten are in the house and you're playing that poorly that Kirsten has to put you up and get you evicted because she can't be associated with you.
Kirsten would never. How dare
you? Imagine she had to.
Yeah, I mean, what did I do? Like, truly, what did I do?
That bad of gameplay.
It would take me a long time to get over that if one of my friends did that to me. Even if I was in the wrong, I'd be like, we need to be wrong together.
No, Gino threw him right under the bus, said, get on out of here. And that's what we're about to do. So 3-0, it seems like, for Lane to advance over.
But we will always
sometimes
hold
people
on.
Sneak through. Sometimes people sneak through to round 2.
Yeah. we'll always hold on to that BB Can 9 hype though.
Mhm.
That was, and then to see his face pop up for
That
BB
was
Can 10, it was
Aman.
so surreal. It
That
was
was
so
another
surreal.
moment of fandom psychosis, like group psychosis. Us with
Yeah.
Kyle Moore. Like we really we have these moments.
We created a
sometimes.
whole
We
headcanon that
changed the course of this man's life,
I
to be
know.
very clear.
we
Like,
did.
I know.
he woke up, looked at his phone, and the next year plus of his life, because it's not just you go on the show, you had to decompress from that experience that went horribly for you.
I'm honestly, at that moment, that was one of the times where I was like, you know what? Maybe we were wrong, a little bit wrong about Robin Cass. Because, there's a lot of dialogue about Robin Cass and her, casting habits, as it were. And there's so much conversation about like, well, she doesn't ultimately have the power over who ends up on the show. That is the top producers, right? And the executives. And for her to approve something like this up north, where like the fans are obviously clamoring for somebody to be on the show, and then to put them on the show the season right after, I'm like, okay, maybe she's a little bit more on our side than we gave her credit for. So
I think that was Arissa, but
If anybody was
I
on our
digress.
side, I'll bring it back to
that
Kristen.
is
and
a
I'll
fair
say,
point. I forgot about Arissa.
if they were on our side enough, Kirsten would have gotten in the house. And now Kirsten's going to text me and say, stop talking about me so much on the podcast. So sorry, Kirsten. But with all that said, so Lane moves on. Let's get the wheel back up to get 2 more players. And that's it. Final matchup of the episode. Crazy. We're flying through this one, but we've had some fun. And we're going to have fun one more time.
Oh my gosh.
Player number 5 of the day today is Big Brother 21's
Jessica Milagros.
Yes.
Love Jessica.
The slayer
Maggie,
of the Jacks.
The journey that Jessica Milagros went on in this podcast is just, if you know, you know. She was eliminated. It was her up against Tucker. Aman and Mari's lives have never been the same since they voted Tucker through and eliminated Jessica. But they've stood by it. Jessica was then in a battle back that she did not win. She then went into another battle back at the end of the first half of the round, I think it was. I think she lost 2 battle backs. She lost the battle back to Enzo, and then she lost, I think, the halfway one, and then finally won another one. I could be messing that up. Point is, it took a lot for her to get here, but now we have her in round 2, and we can talk about her iconic HOH reign.
Again. I mean, she's an icon. She's iconic. What can you say?
Yeah.
Let's see her, Matt. I want to see her.
I'm working on it. I was talking so much that I have to
go
dig for the graphic.
I love Jessica Milagros. I mean, her screaming, jumping off of the... yeah, like she really is a true, like, if you know, Big Brother icon also, like within the fandom. I will never forget seeing her in that kitchen with that veto necklace around her neck. She was like cleaning something and she had that veto necklace on. Oh, look at her. She looks fab.
Shout out to Sasha, who is manifesting like crazy to get Jessica back in the house this season when they did the who's going to be the returnees on this season draft. And Sasha stood by Jessica, said that she should be there, if nothing else. And we should have gotten another Jessica appearance of some sort, whether it's a return spot on Big Brother or just like, I don't know, something, because she was willing to make those moves.
I love Jessica. I've had the lovely chance to meet her and talk with her many times over the past couple of years. And she's always a delight. That being said, I still stand by what I did. because like, look, no, did Jessica give us one of the best weeks of Big Brother 21, a dark and desolate ass season? Yes, the hell she did. And nothing can take that from her. But I do think that sometimes we allow that to allow us to forget just how much of a bad position she was in for the majority of her game, and how much she kind of was just there at the whim of Grateful for a very long time, and how often when she would speak with people, she would often believe the last thing that she heard from the last person that she talked to. And then it would be an entirely new story the next day. So it was a little frustrating to watch her because, yes, you rooted for her, but it wasn't until she got power and she used it correctly that you were really like, okay, there's something here then. I think that we were so starved for something to happen. So for the fact of her that could sweep the week and win HOH and veto in 1 week and get rid of Jack, it was like euphoria. It was a Big Brother orgasm, as it were. Okay, so let's just call it what it was. All right, but it doesn't mean that other parts of her game weren't crazy. Okay.
So let me pull up, Amon, for the first time in a long time. We have a patron pitch for Jessica Milagros.
Okay.
It's been a minute since we've had one. We don't have a ton of these waiting, but it is a perk for our patrons that they can leave us a pitch for some players that they'd like to do so for. And Eric wrote in saying, Jess did nothing, ... Not true. She tried to play the game and was locked out. We missed the first week of feeds, so we know nothing about how or why she was not able to bond with many of her house guests, but they sucked. Big Brother 21. That's part of the game, but she was still able to make it far despite being locked out from before she walked in there. Jess should not have trusted Nicole. She had ample reason to distrust Nicole, her rapport with Nick Macaroni. Jess was unable to get her allies to prioritize her in the game. True. However, I'd like to point out that her two closest allies, Kat and Christy, had outside the game relationships. It's very hard to have a successful HOH in modern BB. I do not judge players based on Big Brother as it exists in reality. It's an unfair game. For me, the best Big Brother player takes their position and plays the best with it. Jess never had the opportunity to play with people her own age, her own ethnicity, or even with people who viewed her as a human, or as human, sorry. That's why I love the patron pitches. Just like when you
really
can like
good.
take a second to really just think about, what you're saying. We just like are rolling off the cuff here. It's a great case.
Was a really good point. Excuse me. Oh my goodness.
That
was a really good point about Christy and Kat both having like outside of the game alliances or like special sort of relationships that of course she was never going to be able to overcome. It's a really good pitch from the patron. What's from Eric, you said?
Yeah.
Eric, I've got you in my head now. I'm not disagreeing with any of those points.
Shall we find out Jess's opponent? I mean, let's be like real. I love Jess too. Amon, put that caveat as well over what he said, but it's not like it's going to be the easiest road for her to get super far in this competition just because of the game that she played, or not like just the game that she was in. It didn't allow her a ton of opportunities to do a lot. So,
if Kyle Moore is in the second round, you never know who else is in the second round.
So true. Well, shall we find the final player of the day here?
Let's do it.
An opponent for Jessica Milagros, and that's going to end up being from Big Brother Canada 4, the runner-up Kelsey Faith. Maggie, have you gotten her before?
Maybe.
You, I think, did.
I think I did too, because she was voted out before. Is this Wow. I'm going to talk about the same person. Should we what are the rules?
No, there's no
rules on that. Okay. Has anyone ever gotten the same person?
Liana, very recently-ish did. And it was crazy because that person was Rachel Swindler. And it's like, what is she going to say twice about Rachel Swindler? But I will say the episode that you had Kelsey come up was posted on January 7th, 2025. It's August 2026. Maybe opinions have changed. Maybe there's more to talk about with Kelsey. Probably not.
I'm gonna have to remember again, like I did then. It's so hard.
Evicted,
Kelsey,
and then comes back.
Yeah, Kelsey is really hard because she was a runner-up and she was drawing dead. Like she was the runner-up against the Phil twins or like the
Phil
brothers. You know what I mean? Like she was a runner-up next to the Pax Bros, and like they tried to evict themselves at one point, and she did get evicted. So like even though she came in second, like I don't feel comfortable saying she's a very good player.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
I give out numbers in my notes of like a lot of different categories of how I view these people. And Kelsey has like some of the lowest numbers that exist in a player in round 2. Like truly just especially that social game. It's just like
Uh-huh.
through the floor. Aman, what do you have on Kelsey?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that we always have to remind ourselves, despite her runner-up status, she was evicted, and not only was she evicted, but she had time
Mm-hmm.
to be sequestered in a private room where she could view what was going on,
Yep.
and then have someone come in and also exchange notes with, and then
Mm-hmm.
enter the house armed with information. So does she do a lot better moving forward? Of course she does, but how could she not?
Yes.
So yeah, this is actually very interesting. I do think that Kelsey does have some natural chops. She still had to play. They could have done the easy thing and just put her ass right back up, and it would have been a revolving door. That didn't quite happen. But in the same regard, does she, find a little wiggle room to move and finagle her way to the end? Yes. Is her jury management great? No. And I do think that it does take a lot to lose to people that want to get evicted.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that one of the things that's a huge knock on Jessica Milagros is you can say like her social game was not the best. She was locked out of that alliance. Like she couldn't really get her feet underneath her with people really wanting to work with her. But like Kelsey, like Jessica would have won up against people who tried to evict themselves. Like if Jess had all of that information, like if she had been sequestered and watching everybody, she would have come in and done the exact same thing that Kelsey did. And like people liked Jess as a person. Like the reason that she got voted out wasn't because people didn't like her as a person. I'm gonna have to go with Jess here.
I mean, I don't think it makes sense to pretend like I'm not automatically, or I know I'm voting for Jess as well.
Yeah.
So just to obviously keep the conversation going, for me, it's just that Kelsey is, I think she's got like, she could be a good player on the challenge type of thing. Like I think in a game where maybe like the social game is not as important, it's obviously important, but like where it's just about competing and having alliances, but like not making people like you and have a jury vote for you to win, I could see Kelsey doing great in a competition like that. But like her thing in that season was being an ice queen and just having such a hard time, if she even cared, to have people like her. Everything that Maggie was just saying. She sticks by her two allies in Raul and Jared the whole game, who are also to various extents pretty unlikable to a lot of other people in the house, and it's just a disaster of a season. The fact that she's able to come back in and have a second chance is good, but yeah.
You guys, she's a pilot.
Really?
That's what she's up to in her life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's a pilot. That's freaking
her.
awesome. Amazing.
That's crazy. Good
That's
for her.
really cool. Good for her is right. Wow. Like all these photos of her, it looks like she's been a pilot for a really long time. She has like a little plane that she flies. Awesome.
I can't even ride.
No, it really is. It's like a little plane. I don't know what else to.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I cannot even ride a plane, let alone even dream of being in a cockpit. So
I don't
kudos
sign
to
off
her.
on people I know and love getting in little planes, but depends on how little we're talking here. Yeah.
Guys, I'm conflicted. I mean, I know ultimately it doesn't matter, but
we're always in the safest place when Amon's vote just doesn't matter. I mean, I would love to hear it. I don't know. I truly could not come up with an argument as to how Kelsey is better, besides that she got to go to the end and was the runner-up. But like Maggie's point about that she lost to people that tried to quit the game is like the hello.
She was still much more of an active player than Jessica was. And I know that we talk a lot about Jessica's prime week. It was a wonderful week of Big Brother 21. It was. But I think that we are underreporting how bad her game was. And yes, we do have to view it through the lens of BB21. There was a lot of stuff that she was iced out on. That is absolutely tea. But for the people that were on her side, she was even misreading them and misreading allies and even mistrusting Nicole. like Jessica's game was off a lot of the time, and I love the girl, I really do, but it makes it really hard for me to like really.
You know what I'm like thinking when you say all of that? It's bringing me to this current season. And of course, please, everybody out there, keep in mind that we're talking about a game a couple days behind when you're listening to this podcast, but we're talking about a lot of players on the side of the house that to this point hasn't been winning anything, and a lot of them that aren't playing the best games. And it's like they're so far outside of the power, they haven't been able to get anything going, and some of their reads have been off
Okay,
as
but
well.
then what about but then answer me this. Why is there no push to actually create a structure when she's HOH? Why does her game completely go right back to where it was after she's done?
I didn't say she's the best player of all time, but she made a good move.
She made one good move.
But she's
Yeah,
great.
with the one opportunity she had. And look, this is not even like as much of just like pro Jessica. It's just like between these two, it's easy for me, and I guess for Maggie. But you can vote for Kelsey. You have a vote.
No, I'm not gonna vote for Kelsey.
Use your voice. Use your voice.
But I just
Every
wanted
vote
that.
counts.
I wanted that. I wanted that part of the story to really. I think that we have to talk about that more because I don't think that we do. I think that when it comes to Jessica, I feel like we all get rose-colored lenses and we're just not talking about the rest of it. Like you know what? But fine.
I'm not voting for her to go past Dan Giesling. I'm just voting past Kelsey.
We
and Tucker.
We are rocking with Jessica because she's rocking with us. Okay,
against your will.
Aman is not rocking with Jessica. Let me tell you.
It makes me feel like I'm like so like anti-Jessica, and
Jessica.
it's not that I don't hate Jessica. It's not that. It's just
if we can ever get her back on this podcast, I'm gonna leave the call and just let the two of them hash out some business, and then I'll come back.
It would be all love. I love Jessica. I have nothing but love for Jessica. I just hey, listen.
You just think she's the worst player of all time? We get it. Anyway.
Hey, we can't butter people up to be on the show, okay? We gotta be honest and real, and not be honest.
When Aman actually ends up on Big Brother, and we're like, Aman, you just played horribly. I mean, sorry, I can't.
And I would be like, fair. Would I be embarrassed as hell? Would I be walking around with my tail between my legs? Hell yes. But would I be like, so yeah, you know what? I fucking sucked, bro. Like, yes. Because if I did, I did. It is what it is. We can't all be good at everything.
I also will say, I feel like last time I was on, now this is kind of moving away from Jessica and Kelsey and just talking about Big Brother in general, but like last time I was on, I remember I was like, I feel the itch, like maybe I would want to go on Big Brother itch, like I'm missing it and whatever. And this season that we're currently in, it's for, if you're listening to this in the future, it's Big Brother 28 with Dee and Devins. And this season is just really hard. Like I haven't been watching and been being like, oh, I wish I was in there. Like, what would I be doing? Because I've just been like, it's really hard. Like the vets have it so good,
it's very hard.
And I think that that's kind of like Jess's season. Like it was a really tough season.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a good way to look at it. Because I mean, the more and more that we see seasons like this with vets or with like rock solid power structures, we tend to criminalize a lot of the people that aren't in power a lot. Like, and even so, like I'm looking at Drew and I'm like, bruh, come on. Like, is this on? But truth be told, a lot of us really don't know what it's like to be in there, in that vacuum, where narratives only go one way, and you just don't. You just don't see it. You don't like. You're just. And part of it, I think, is that Drew is just young, but like it's also just it's hard when you're at an information deficit. It's hard. So
it is.
That's why I'm ultimately voting for Jessica as well. But I was just voicing that one part of the equation. That's it.
Valid, and we all have our votes for a reason. Even if, again, sometimes I wish Aman didn't have one, but that's not today.
Wow, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Oh wow, Matt's a gerrymanderer. That's crazy.
We'll see how the rest of the rounds go. Maggie, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, I always have the best time with you guys. It's so fun to talk about Big Brother and these people who, some of them I haven't thought about in a really long time. So it's always really fun to chat and go take a walk down memory lane.
It is always fun to have you. Can't wait till we get to do it again. In the meantime, where can people find you?
Sure, people can find me on Instagram and TikTok at MLMorgan underscore. You can find me on Blue Sky at MLMorgan. And I'm always around talking about Big Brother.
There we go. Almost forgot, but I didn't forget to recap what we had today. First matchup was Jason, Selena S. Titties, advancing to round 2 over lip sync assassin Clay Honeycutt, who just returns from round 1 to not help eliminate anybody else from the game. That's okay. We had Big Brother 12 runner-up Lane advance over Big Brother Canada 10's Kyle Moore, which was really easy. And then another runner-up, Kelsey Faith from Big Brother Canada 4, is eliminated in favor of Big Brother 21's Jess Milagros. Doesn't have to do any battle backs right here this time. She gets to move through the round nice and smoothly after a bumpy round 1. So love that for her, for us. Aman, anything else going on besides this and, of course, popping in and out of Big Brother RHAP content?
That's it. Just you can catch me talking Big Brother 28. Catch me here. Catch me at RHAP Con. Very excited for that.
Ooh.
And yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think Maggie will be there too. I'll be there. So
I will.
it's going to be fun.
Yay.
Patreon.com/The Diary Room if you want all of our episodes early and ad free. So if you're watching this on our main feed on YouTube, on a podcast feed, it goes up pretty early, the weeks prior, sometimes weeks prior, depending on how far ahead we are, over on Patreon. Plus, we have all of our bonus content, including all those battle backs. We're getting very close to our next nomination ceremony to pick the players who will be battling back and all of that fun stuff. Check out the Free Agents podcast, myself and Brian Scally talking all things The Challenge, which is now underway with a brand new season. Check out the Dancing with the Stars coverage with myself and Sasha over on RHAP, talking The Next Pro. The Free Agents Millennial TV with myself, Mary, and AJ. Check that out as well. But I think that's going to do it for now. Again, Maggie, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait again for the next time. Always fun. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing the videos and all the content. Anything that you can do to help support, always appreciated. But Aman, let's go.
Yes. Our thanks to Maggie once again for joining us. And until next time, guys, please go to the diary room.